All right, so I screwed up the timing. I tried to get it all done, but we're pretty close, right? So we're close. Hi, Kim. How you doing?
I'm
Welcome
great.
to this broadcast here. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited to introduce you to the world. I'm sure that everybody knows who you are already. You're such a superstar. This is amazing. We are talking with Kim Sellers Brown, and this is all about what you've done over the last, I don't know, it's been maybe 2 months, has
Mhm.
it? Something like that.
Yeah.
And just all your awesomeness. I want to really just get right into this because, first of all, tell us like what you do, who you are, like a real short thing, and then we'll get right into it. I'm sure you got a lot to say, but who are you? What do you do? And then we'll get
So
right into this.
I'm Kimmy Brown, and I'm a service provider. I help entrepreneurs who are already selling online really hone it and sell it on a platform called Kajabi. And so that's in a nutshell what I do.
That is awesome. And tell us like a quick story of how you got into this world. Like what
By
brought you into this
accident.
online business world?
By accident, I had a friend reach out that I had worked with back I worked with him in the year 2000. And in 2015, somehow we end up on Facebook in each other's lives. And he said he really needed a virtual assistant to help get 30 years of knowledge out of his head into an online course. And could I just start there just as his VA? And then he got this newfangled Kajabi. And we started building on that. And I knew nothing about the digital world, nothing, never have done anything. I mean, there was so much I didn't know, but I cut my teeth with him. And then really quickly in that same 2015, I met Catherine Dove, who is amazing.
Right,
And
right.
so she hired me to help put her course on Kajabi. And so
Oh,
between the two of them, I really started to learn Kajabi, not just from the technical side, but how to build a business through Catherine, because she has such a great knowledge. And I fell in love with Kajabi and been doing it ever since.
Kajabi's awesome.
Yeah, it
So
really is.
was that like your first like, were you an entrepreneur before that? Did you have businesses
No,
before that?
no, I
Were you
was
like a
a
working
just
in
over
the
broke
regular world?
person. Yeah, just over broke person in the
No
regular
way.
world. Yeah.
What were you doing before that?
So I worked at an insurance agency. Can
Wow.
you hear the lawnmower in the background? I'm so sorry. Now's when they decide to mow the lawn, is when
I
I'm
just
on.
had like my son just finished and some dude just took off with the anyway,
I'm
this is
like, did he
life. This
not
is what life is
coordinate with
all
me?
about in entrepreneurship. It's all
Coordinate
good.
this with me. So,
We are live, so
so no, I
whatever.
was working for an insurance agency, and I really love sales, and I love words, and I love to help people. And what happened is we ended up moving to Florida. And so what I did is I said, can I still work for you virtually? So still as an employee, but virtually. And then realized that other State Farm agents might need that help as well. So that was like my first, and that was about 2011 when I went, oh, I could still be an employee, but I can work virtually. So it wasn't quite being a VA, but it sort of was. And that kind of opened my eyes to you can have a laptop lifestyle, you know? So that was
That is
kind of
so
my
cool.
foray.
And we started working together. When was it? Was it 2 months ago or
It was
before
about
that?
2 months. What was it? August,
Something like
July, July.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
And how is the business that you have now? How was it before you started working with me? And like, was it a success? Fail? Like, what was it? Tell us a little bit about that. How
So
did you
I,
feel
I
about the
feel it
business?
was a success. So I took it from in 2015 when I really started it. My only goal was to cover my son's copay for his medicines. He has a chronic illness, so it's about $1,000 a month. So that's all I was really just using Kajabi for. And people in the Facebook group would reach out, say, "Hey, I need help with something." So it was just very nothing official, no sales page, no nothing. So I started that way and then slowly built it to where I'm at now, where I'm about 8,000 a month,
Nice.
bringing it in. Thank you. Still kind of part time. So 30 hours with Fridays off. But
Love it.
I know, right? But I was at the point where, it definitely was a journey. So this wasn't like, ooh, no, there was a lot of pain, a lot of journey and niching down and figuring out what I want. But I was at the point where I was introduced to your Facebook group, just the heart centered, strategic, got in there. And then pretty soon these little Atlas emails started coming in. Atlas, and I went, well, if this isn't great timing, because I realized that I was at the point in my business that I needed to do something different because I was stuck at that 8,000 and I didn't necessarily want to hire more people or necessarily offer more things. So what was it? And then I realized, oh, he's just a little bit different than like finding out who your avatar is or niche. I thought that had pretty nailed down, but there was this whole dream client tease. And I'm like, ooh, obviously sounds like it's something different.
Yeah.
And so that was the first tease. And then it was like, well, maybe he can also help me, because this is what I was thinking coming in. Maybe I'll just do something evergreen and just have that rolling and making me money. And that's how I kind of came into it,
Right.
thinking I knew what I wanted versus what ended up happening.
This is amazing. I can't wait to get into the details of this. So, can you foreshadow like how you feel, like what's different right now about the business?
What's different now is a lot more focus. I know exactly who I want to work with versus coming from the mindset of hopefully they want to work with me.
Wow.
I'm picking and designing who I want to work with based on what I want in life, how I want to live it, and the outcome I want. And so everything is from that lens versus, gee, I hope they like me or they want my services, or let's just pick a niche or an avatar. It's completely blows it away on how you look and view things. And it comes across with how I talk with my clients, prospects, teammates, my heart centered apprentices. It really has changed how we're doing things.
That's so cool. I love to hear that when you have that breakthrough of building the business more around you. And I mean, you've done an awesome job up to even before we met. And but this is now kind of expanded it, right? It's kind of amplified, multiplied what you're doing. And the dream client is so important. Like, how can you speak to that a little bit about your dream client, or like what you learned? What was the big thing about the dream client that really opened your eyes?
I think just the first shift of coming from what I really want. So the outcome. So coming from an outcome
Uh,
that I want, not so much the outcome that the client wants. And that sounds weird, but when you go through this, and if you have a chance to learn about the dream client, it's just completely different. And who I want to work with. And so the change has been the language on my sales page, how I interact with other people, that I've always been one to serve. And so serve, not sell, but this just like really hammered home the logic behind it and the proof behind it and that it works. And it's my packages are different. And when I'm talking with someone, I can filter them in and out so much better, and really align strategic partnerships for the ones that don't align with what I want and what my outcome is.
Was that like kind of a reluctance when you first heard that introduced in Atlas, where I was talking about let's make it about us first? Because, we've been taught, which is completely right, let's make it about the clients.
Right.
It's all about them. But then in Atlas, we kind of start with us first. Was there any reluctance to that when you first heard that? Because I know that.
It took me a bit. I mean, thank goodness throughout the course. So we have the foundational few things that where we met, and then the actual implementation sessions.
Right.
And I would say it took a lot of not only my questions, but thank God for this amazing community who was in there with you, asking their clarifying questions to honestly make that shift, because everything in you goes back to that avatar. Not
Yeah.
saying you don't need to know your client's pain points. That's completely different. You do still need to know that. But starting with you, once it finally clicked and then it worked, it was like, well, holy crap, this isn't just same shit, different day.
Yep.
Because I was worried that it was just going to be same stuff, just packaged differently. Nothing new. Mindset is a huge shift here.
Yeah, because that's one of the questions I want to ask you is what were you concerned about? Let me ask that now. What else were you concerned about when you first joined Atlas, or was that just it? Like, what was the thing that you were worried about?
I think the first thing was that it was just going to be something packaged differently, said a different way, that it was going to be kind of just another person kind of coming at you with here's a different way to do it. But do they necessarily follow it? Do they necessarily do it? Yes, you do. You have. Did it resonate? So let's say it could be brilliant, whoever has something out there, but would it really resonate with me? And this really resonated with me I think it's what helped the mind shift, and it helped the thoughts, because it just went, oh my gosh, yes, this is who I am. This is my core. Now I know how to verbalize it.
Yeah.
How to make it work. I think it was always there. I just didn't know how it fit. And this
Right.
just made it so much clearer. I mean, I didn't know what I didn't know.
Right.
So it just made it clear.
And what was the point where, like, what specifically made you realize, because your business was already good,
Mhm.
and what was the point, or what made you specifically realize I need some help to make this business grow?
I think it was another business coach who I had talked with, and it just had ended, and then I was looking for another person or something to join. So it was right. And some of the thing was, okay, taking a look at your business. Are you doing what you want to do? I mean, the same things you hear, which is
Yeah.
kind of what we talked about. Are you doing what you do? Is it fit into your life? Yeah, 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 yeah. I totally didn't know what that meant. So I was just taking a look at, do I want to just move things around? Because I need to get past a certain money point because of my why. Is I want to retire my husband early. I want to be able, my father is dying, and I want to be able to give him some trips and some memories with my mom. And
Very
then
sorry to hear that.
just for me, I want to be able, for my husband and I to be able to travel and enjoy life, because I've
Right.
come from a workaholic and I've done really a good job trying not to be one. And this, of course, class has really helped me with that too, this system, because I
Oh,
really, we talk about our day and our time and who we are, but it's different than any of the other ones I've been to where you block your day. I can't even explain the differences.
thank you.
So you're welcome. So I was at the point where, do I go consulting? Do I do an evergreen webinar just to make money while I'm doing other things? I mean, there was just so much running around my head. So it was just good timing. And again, when the timing's right, they'll come to you.
Yeah.
They'll come to you. And you were
Yeah.
serving in so many other different ways. This was just another thing. I'm like, well, he's helped me so much here. And I kind of get his style. Maybe he can help me here.
That's awesome. What was, and leading, like, looping back around to the business again, I want to ask a question where, was there a mistake? What mistakes did you make that maybe we can talk about that? And what did you learn from that? Anything there?
First mistake, I should have gotten coaching sooner. I made the mistake of thinking because I did something part-time for extra money that it wasn't a business. I don't
Okay.
care if you're a couple hours a week, 20 hours a week, 40 hours a week. It's a business. Think like a CEO. And I should have gotten coaching a long time ago. I think having someone else help you with mindset and help you move forward with a plan of action, even just to begin with. Number one, you start thinking differently, you make decisions differently. So that was the first part that helped. But then when you meet someone who actually aligns with your values and is able to verbalize what you weren't able to verbalize or make it happen in your head, then things just kind of blossom and
Yeah.
explode. Another mistake was, I think I was definitely one that was allowing prospects and clients to lead the growth of my business, not me lead the growth of my business and where I wanted to go. I was trying to design it around their wants and needs, which there's still a piece of that because you need to
Sure.
make sure you're serving them.
Sure.
But it was the ultimate. I was at their mercy, at their what they needed versus I'm in the driver's seat. Here's what I want to do. And if this is where you want to go to, I will take you there.
So are you more selective now?
I am more selective now for a very good reason. And then I've really leveraged some strategic partnerships for areas that it's not something I necessarily want to work with. So
That is so amazing. And that has that given you back some of your time?
oh my gosh, yes. And stress. And I mean, not giving me stress, it's reduced stress.
Right. Right.
More time back. My family could tell immediately. My husband's like, you're more present. You're
Wow.
not like sitting next to me and I'm seeing your mouth moving because I'm working on something in my head. I'm taking weekends off. And if I
Wow.
choose to work on a Sunday, it's because he's watching football and I'm bored. And then I'm working on my business, not my client. So there's a lot these were things in the making. This just helped me verbalize it and it makes sense in my brain to give myself permission, I guess.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I love hearing this. Thank you for sharing all of this, Kim. I mean, this is so amazing. And I hear this, and you probably hear this too, because you're coaching, you're kind of coaching, right? And we should have done this earlier, should have done this earlier. And it's one of my, I don't know if it's the right word to say the Achilles heel, but it's a problem for me where I know I could serve and help somebody, but they're not at the point where they're ready to be helped. right? And it pains my heart to see that. Not because of money, not because of let me sell another Atlas thingy, right? And do you feel that too when you?
I do. Part of, and this could be just that the business that we're in is serving. And then, not saying that men don't have this, but the majority of women, we are the giver.
Yeah.
We have the servant's heart. I just love that your group, so many men have a servant's heart, which I love, and that
Yeah.
they're willing to share it. And so everything in us says, I want to help you. I want to move you forward. I think what it does is it says what is best for them. Me jumping in to do that, I'm not the best person to do that. So who can I connect them with that will be their right person and that it's their right fit? That's what I call my dream client, the right fit client. It will be their right fit. I'm actually doing what's best for them and at the same time what's good for me. And so if you're brand new starting out, you may have to figure this line out for yourself,
Yeah.
what that means for you. So that's why this is really resonating at a good time for me.
What do you think? You maybe have already talked about this, but what was your biggest challenge before joining Atlas? Like, what was the big thing that you were facing, the big challenge?
Oh, my mindset.
Mindset. Okay.
I'm the biggest obstacle. It wasn't technology. It wasn't how to do things. It wasn't, they're all out there. I mean, look how many books are on my shelf and how many courses I have. It was me. I was the roadblock. I knew I was the roadblock. This helped me understand what the roadblock was that I even realized was the roadblock. I thought it was something else. And this just for me solidified and was able to pull out and go, oh my God, I didn't realize that was even a problem.
So their mindset, can we be more specific about what that mindset is? Like what the block was?
God, it's so multifaceted. I think with me, it's a mix of, well, as we all have at times, imposter syndrome,
Okay.
fear of missing out, FOMO, what's the new shiny object and getting distracted and should I do that next? Throwing spaghetti against the wall, hoping it sticks with whatever it is that you're doing because you're trying to make more money yet serve at the same time and, feel that there is a sacrifice if you do say no versus you're doing yourself a favor. And, if you do say no because you open yourself up and then taking the focus away from dollars
Yeah.
and really putting on people and not chasing I have to have a page, I have to have all the technology, I have to have all these things in place first before I mention it or before. So perfectionism.
Right. Right.
What
Okay.
the gurus say, you have to have this in order to be successful. And I've
Right.
given myself permission to say, what if it's just this?
Right.
And going, holy shit, that worked.
Like,
Sorry about the cussing. I apologize.
no, I love this. I love this. I mean, you're just so real and that's why we get along so well. You're hitting so many great points about this. And when like what did you think about Atlas after you completed it? Like what was the thing for you? What was the one sentence thingy?
Actually, I'm gonna really say there were two, so it's 4 words.
Okay.
2 words each. Movie. Sounds like.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez. So dream client and beta cohort.
Nice.
Those are the 2 things that really stuck out to me, and or at least were the most reasons for my success coming out of it. And then the rest was just like frosting on the cupcake.
When did you realize Atlas was worth it for you?
3 weeks in.
How many?
3
Holy
weeks in.
crap.
So what happened was we had just learned about, this was the 3rd session, and you had just taught on the beta cohort. My brain started going,
Love it.
What could this be? What could this be? And so I was just in a Facebook group, farting around, and kind of put out, hey, I'm thinking about doing kind of this beta cohort and I told the outcome, and someone wrote, oh my God, that's awesome. So what it is it's called the Heart-Centered Apprentice. And anybody who's like worked in technology or with Kajabi, to really help them have a laptop lifestyle like Meg Burridge and myself do, and just helping them get there. And I teach the business side, she teaches the Kajabi side, but everything comes from serving. And I mean, the response lit up in the messages. Oh my God, tell me more. When? What is this? How much does it cost? And so I just did what Joey calls the out of my butt offer.
Yeah, the Umbo, right?
Umbo.
Umbo.
So just with an outcome. So at the end of whatever we teach, you'll have this. And I'm like, $4,500. I had no
Oh my God.
details. I had no pillars. I had no timeline. I had no how were we going to make that happen. I just knew that Meg Barrage and I were probably going to make, because we had been talking, just flirting with it in the background. 4 women reached out and said, where do we sign up?
No way.
Meg created, I mean, the ugliest, plainest, just a checkout page, just plain and simple.
Yeah.
Bot. No outcome. I mean, no details. Was it 6 weeks, 12 weeks, a year? What is it? They just wanted the outcome and they wanted Meg and I.
I hope everybody's hearing this. Like, this is what, like, you sold an idea.
Sold an idea.
So on week 3, you went through Atlas, you saw the beta cohort, and you go, you know what? I'm going to try this freaking thing.
Yeah.
And then that week, you and Meg sat down, right?
Yeah. So what we did is Meg is from the Netherlands. I'm from here. So we did something a little bit different. We met and said, okay, this is the thing. So we had a week and we kind of came up with some pillars, some ideas, how it could look a very ugly sales page. And in fact, we said, you know what? Let's not even do the sales page yet. So we just did a nice email.
Yeah.
This is who we are, who we're looking for. You're the right person if this is the outcome. And we just talked about 12 pillars. That's it. No details. And
yeah, I was going to ask you, did you get into all the details? You didn't.
No how. Details. And we knew enough that it would be like, okay, it'll be 12 weeks of this and then 9 months support as you help build your business. That's all we knew. And just put that email out and we got a couple more sales just off that email. And then finally we got the sales page. So on August 1st, the sales page kind of went up. We only did it. So we did a mix of email to a segmented list saying, go check out this page. This is who we are. And then in a couple of the Facebook groups where we've been serving that they allowed us to post, now this is what we're looking for. And it was to an application. And we only had it open a week because we actually went, our kickoff was the 9th of August, where even if you were thinking about it, you could come to the kickoff. And even that we winged it.
Yeah, exactly right.
We knew we were building it as we were going. So, I mean, there's no handouts. It's not pretty. And our first one was August 12th. We had 30 applicants.
Oh my God.
And we did, between Meg and I, we split up the calls. And there were probably about 10 people that just weren't right fits, not the right timing. There were a few that just, it wasn't in their budget right now. But maybe next year. But I think the key piece was the people that weren't the right fit. We were doing them a favor by not saying yes to everybody.
Love that.
But when everything was said and done, it was 14 women in the beta cohort. We were hoping for
at
8.
$4,500.
Yes.
What does that work out to? Did you do the math already?
4 of them were upsells from another course she had done. So they were at $1,500. The rest were at $4,500. So about $51,000 before expenses, which aren't many because no handouts.
Still, like the revenue you brought in was $51,000. Yeah. Wow. I am blown away. Like, this is news to me. Like, I haven't spoken to you about this to know what the exact numbers are. I knew that you did 5 figures, but holy moly.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the math is on the ROI on that for you buying Atlas.
It's like, I think it works out. I think it was a good decision. And that's why I'm a big proponent for it.
What is that, like 5,000% or something like that?
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Wow.
I definitely got way more out of it.
Thank you. Wow. And congratulations. I mean, and this is just the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And so where are you right now? Because I don't think you're done the cohort, are you?
No, we're in week 4, so session 4. So we're in pricing and packaging. So I'm doing the business side of it. And we have 6 total. Then we take a little break, and then Meg gets into her 6, which is the Kajabi tech side. And then it's 9 months of just support. And all that means is we're rotating 1 call a month.
Wow.
It's not a lot of time. And then we launch again in November.
Wow.
So, and then so twice a year right now is all.
That's still cool.
It's still pretty cool. And it's just been amazing. It's giving us so much to think about and how we want to help people, because I want to give them a leg up and not have to make as many failing forwards as I did, stop throwing spaghetti against the wall, maybe help them find their right fit client. So starting them out on the right foot.
I was speaking to my friend Scott, who's here today, and thank you everybody for all these comments. I was speaking to him today, and he knew I was going to speak to you today. And I said to him, Kim is the epitome of Atlas. Like, if I could choose one person right now, I mean, there's so many great people who have just done so many amazing things, but you just took it and ran. Like, and then there's a few others, but you were just like, you learn the thing, and then the next day you were already creating the thing and doing the out of my butt offer thingy, and then you put it in within 7 days, and then it was just like, and you sold. So I mean, those are like grand slams. It's really hard to get continuously grand slams like that, but I gotta really give you credit, because
it ran without us. It's one of those things that took off. So timing,
wow.
a little bit of dumb luck, a little bit of having this great foundation to go, I have something to support. So I had to keep showing up to go, what's the next session? Please tell me what I'm supposed to do next.
Yeah.
What does it do next? It's like me. I'm that way. Like, I went through birthing class and only made it to the third one, and then had my son Joshua. He never graduated, but I figured, give birth. That's where I am.
Well, you know what? I learned from Eben Pagan way back, and speed of implementation is the secret to success. It's learn it, go implement it. Learn it, go implement it. And then you just fix things along the way. Once I understood that, or just was introduced to that concept, that's how I operate. And that's kind of what Atlas is all about. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, it's pretty simple. It's not brain surgery here.
No.
It's about looking at something, like you said, from a different lens and say, this is kind of new, but it's really simple. And I think, as I've done now, I think I'm in just the end of the second one now. I'm seeing that because it's so easy and simplistic, people are like, this can't be that easy.
Right.
Do you agree with that?
I do, because there's a part of me that still fights it, or maybe it's habit, but I have to have all the shiny, pretty things. I do believe a lot of us use that as an excuse, whether we know it or not, for moving forward.
Right.
But the fact that you can still, not saying you don't do those things if you don't want to,
right?
To really start out, and I'm telling you, not only did we validate it, interest.
Oh my gosh.
That was just one of those lucky things, but that's really it. You kind of put it out there. I'm thinking about this. Let's do a beta. People say, yeah. You're like, okay, here's how much. And
yeah.
And you sort of build it with them. That's the whole thing. But you've got to know who you really want to attract first for this. So for me, I came from two brains. So brain for my own business of being Kajabi's a service provider, and then the Heart-Centered Apprentices. So I just was like, pick your brain, because you can't do both. So I picked the brain for the heart-centered, and that's what I went with. And I think if someone were to do this, and I highly encourage it, I think that you need to carve out time, take this seriously, at least 2 to 3 hours a week, to show up live, do some of the in-depth worksheets, and then show up for the support. But if you're not willing to take action, and you're not in action, even if it's a baby step, even if it's just changing your mindset, it's not for you yet.
I totally agree with that.
And it's best if you're not a newbie, because honestly, I don't think I would have recognized how amazing it was if I hadn't had all the pain. But you must be coachable. You must be open to learning something new. And I do think you have to be a little bit of a contrarian down deep in your heart to buck the trend.
Yeah.
Because people will question, and then you start doubting. So
and like, you've nailed it. And I talk a lot about that in the program itself, and trying to even identify my dream client for Atlas, making sure, because when somebody asks me about it, I don't just say, well, here's the sales page, go over here, right? Like, I want to talk to somebody to make sure that they identify with exactly what you just said, because, hey, it's great, you're a beginner and you've not sold anything, but they're not ready yet, in my opinion. There's always an exception to the rule. But most beginners, like you said, are not yet ready for it, because they haven't been through the struggles, and they don't know how to take the contrarian approach to what we're doing, to see it from a different lens and go, maybe I should give this a shot. Right? What were I probably had a million of these aha moments, but what were the two or three biggest ones for you? Even if they're the same things you've already said before, maybe we can expand on some of them.
So definitely the dream client, coming at it from a different mindset of it's really coming from what I need, who I want to work with, who I want to serve, not necessarily coming at it from the client leading where my business goes, but I can lead where my business goes. The beta cohort, now I've been to other things where let's teach you how to do a beta, let's teach you how to do this, but I think it was the combination of
Yeah.
the two
Yeah.
and just putting it out there. But then what was different was then even how you approach the beta and how you grow it and how you nurture it, and what you need to do was even different than some of the other ones, but always having the client, the dream client, kind of at the
As the
focus.
nucleus, right?
Yeah, at the nucleus and serving at the nucleus. Because honestly, this has always been my philosophy. If you serve them, they will come. I call it raving fans. You build
Right.
raving fans, they're going to mention you. You don't have to mention yourself. They're going to say, hey, you need to think of Joey, or Joey should do this. And it always looks better if someone else recommends you than you.
Right.
So create those raving fans, and the right people will come your way. You don't have to segment. It's going to come
Right.
your way.
Yeah. And so it's a dream client, and then it's the beta cohort. Anything else?
Probably taking action. So when we put it out there and people said yes and they wanted to do this, of course your instinct is, oh my God, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
That thing. It's like, nope, keep pushing, just push through it. And I'm glad I did.
Now, okay, so let me talk about that for a second, because I'm sure that somebody listening to this right now might be wondering, what did you do to get to that point of, what did you build? What did you have before you offered? And the answer is nothing. Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's kind of an idea. We've been chatting around with what it could look like, but nothing official.
Okay. And so what would you have lost had nobody bought?
I believe in sales. You either learn something, sell something, or both. So I would have learned a whole bunch.
Okay. But in terms of what I'm trying to get at here is where Alice is completely different is you're not selling a thing yet. You're selling an idea, correct?
Right. Correct.
And you know that as well as I did, there's like a billion people who create the course and then try to sell it, and then they don't sell it. So they've lost a lot. And for some people, that's months, sometimes a year or even longer that they've put into doing that.
Yeah,
And then they don't sell, and then they lose all of that. So
yeah, we wouldn't have wasted time on it, or we would have gone and said, we may not have our ideal client right, or is this a thing, or what's next? Right, it saved us from spending hours and hours and hours and hours and hours creating something.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was leaning towards this. And from my perspective, what I'm hearing is that, really what you would have lost, and that's why I'm using the air quotes, is that week of you sitting down, writing down some ideas. And well, that was it wasn't, and it's not a waste of time.
No.
But it was like, if you really want to put a like something on that, paint that brush of what did you lose? Right. Well, I guess it was just doing that outline and it didn't sell. But you're like you said, you're still learning something. But I want to put something out there so everybody listening to this understands that you save so much more time than anything you lose, regardless of how long you decide to put that outline together or something like that.
Right. Because if we had gone down the road of trying to create it and meeting it, so the dual hours that went into it that we could have been selling and serving other people would have been lost, because you're not making money while you're creating.
Yeah, or chasing customers or non-dream clients. Right. Exactly. Okay.
Emotions, money, everything.
Yeah. And here's what I want to ask you is, what was the hard part about Atlas? Like, what was the struggle for you? Because everybody's got to struggle with it. Nothing's ever perfect. So, and you know me, I like to be honest, go figure. So I want everybody listening to know, yeah, Atlas is great. It will help you, but there is something that is hard to get through. And what did you struggle with, and what brought you through that struggle?
There's a couple of sessions where you're giving so much.
Yeah.
But my brain went.
Okay, here we go.
So
I know.
Next time there'll be some things split into maybe a couple more sessions, because there was a lot. And I think that knee-jerk reaction of wanting to slip back into what's familiar, even if it's wrong and not working for me, it's an easy thing to do and to slip into old patterns and fear of missing out, and that this is the old way, and but I've got to have this. And so again, it's me was the biggest part.
Right.
But what helped was on the calls when people would ask their questions, even if it was had nothing to do with my business, it still has to, it boils down to the same core thing. So it doesn't matter if you're teaching dogs to knit or you're helping people create a business using Kajabi, there's still the core thing. So I could still learn from other people. And in that, when you demonstrated and you walked, I'm not going to say who, but there was somebody in the group and this was perfect and it worked for me. It was so resonated. You walk them from where they were stuck in the avatar and you just ask questions. That brought it to life. So it took it from the page of like, well, I think I get it conceptually. Those are what I found most helpful, because then I went, oh, that's what he needs.
Nice.
So, more of that.
Nice.
So you can't be a lurker. I said, if you want to do this, please don't be a lurker. Ask questions. That,
yeah, it's so true. Like that is where that, like the whole way it's even laid out is all about implementation. And my whole, like that's what I'm made up of. Like I'm an activator. I'm that person who pushes you. I'm that person like who's in that meeting where everybody's just brainstorming. I love brainstorming, but now let's pick one and go try that. Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean it's always going to work, but you can't just sit on, waiting in your driveway for all the green lights to turn green or all the lights to turn green before you start driving. Right. So you got to start and let's get out there.
Right.
And yeah, you're right. If you're just coming into Atlas, in this case, to sit around and go, let me see what's new here and what, and not implement, it's not for you at all. So
it's another book on the shelf. It's another festival. I mean, how many diet books do I have? So it has to be something that resonates with you. And that's why I think having a talk with you first, because they can ask questions, you can ask questions, and you can find out where are they at in their journey. Maybe it's not right for them right now. So that's important. So it's not just, hey, we want a whole bunch of people in, show up and let's see if this is for you. You show up knowing this is pretty much for you. So if your doubts and will this be different?
Yeah, exactly.
Quickly you'll see it is different, but being able to ask questions. And I think the main theme is a lot of us come into this going, but I can do all the things and I can help all the people. And it doesn't matter who they are because this is the service I'm providing. And you very quickly realize, and that's probably the hardest part to get past for most people, is that piece of it, to just really break it down to start somewhere, start here, and then you can branch out, but start here because of you're wanting to do all the things and work with all the people is part of what's causing the problem.
Yeah, you're right. And I think that's the biggest thing is that one component of learning who that market is, who that dream client is. And then because we're good at what we do, that we can serve all these people. You're right. That I see people like that every day get stuck in this and they're not making money when and that's counterintuitive. Like you just talked about it, where, wait a second, if I niche down all the way down to here and I'm only serving this little pocket, how can I make more money? Well, because you can charge higher because it's a specific group of people with a problem that are looking for you rather than going out. And I think I gave an example of the other day, going down to a New York subway and saying, hi, I solve problems. Does anybody need any help?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you're not being specific to anything. And you're trying to shout to all these people coming in and out and just like, shotgun marketing. This is very specific where you're blowing that dog whistle and only the dog hears it.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's powerful. It is really powerful. So it's a combination of things. So it's not just the one thing. It really is a combination of a lot of things. But it's you really working through some of the mindset issues and putting it into practice and like seeing if it works. And if it doesn't, why? That's when you come to the group and go, here, I tried it. What's happening? And that's where it's really helpful when you go, why did you do this? Is it because someone said this is what you need to do? But does your dream client really need this? Whether it be a Facebook ad or not saying that those things don't need to happen at some point for different businesses.
Right. Later down the line, you can always do those.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's one thing that I really want to emphasize is that, it's adaptable to your business. It's not where you're coming in and you're learning a framework or a system or methodologies or whatever you want to call it, right? But it's not, you have to do it this way. Mm-hmm. Most of it, you can just model exactly the thing and go do it. That's why it was built that way. But I think that's another one thing that people worry about is this another one of those things where I'm going into someone else's sandbox and have to play by their rules and do their thing. And that's not what this is.
Yeah. And that's where
Would
it's
you
really
agree?
good that you have the feedback. So someone can say, this is really where I want to go with this. And I'm using this piece. Does this piece still make
Right.
sense that I'm currently doing? And if it does, great. And if not, maybe it gets amended, but we all talk about it as a group. You talk through it and we talk through it together. So even though it's a class, it's still intimate. It's still tell me about your business and you and how can this fit?
Yeah, this has been great. Thank you for spending the time with me. And I want to ask you, why didn't you give up in your whole online business? Like 85% of people who start online businesses give up. Why didn't you?
One is I absolutely fell in love with what I do. So I'm a spotlight leader. I love putting people's businesses in the spotlight. I like to be
Yeah,
the person behind the curtain. And so my want to help kind of overrode any fear. And plus I started making some money right away. So money's always helpful.
sure.
And my husband was like, sweet. But the reason behind it is one, my first of all, my son wanting to make sure that I could be around for him with the hours that I wanted to be around, and we could take some trips and make memories, pay for his medications. For my dad, who's dying, to give him some trips that he was never able to take in his life. So sometimes that pushes you forward when you really want to give up. And then, for my husband and I, so we can, because you never know what life holds. So
Right.
we can take a few trips, and I don't like putting things on credit cards. So I want to pay cash. So, and this is a great vehicle to do it. And so for me, it's on a great platform with great people. And I get to teach others to do what I do and teach them to come at it from a servant's heart way. And that just excites me.
I love you, right?
Thank you.
How do people get a hold of you?
Well, you can through www.greatcollaborationva.com. That's my website. You can book a discovery call. It can be about anything. You can just get a hold of me through there and we can just chat. So on there, everywhere it just says book a discovery call. Click on that. We'll schedule some time together and let's just get to know each other.
Cool.
Or pick my brain on how did this work, or if Atlas is right for you, still use that time frame. Still use that link. And you just put it's about Atlas and I can let you know.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And I'm just so your energy is awesome. And the whole group is so awesome. I'm so blessed to work with people like you and everybody in that group.
It's a great group. It's a great
group. It truly is. It truly is. And everybody says that. And I know, and there probably are great groups out there. I just know for a fact that ours is really awesome. And the support is amazing in there. And I couldn't do it without you and everybody in there. So I really want to honor you for that, for showing up and bringing that energy and expertise and all the stuff that you're talking about here is that courage and that tenacity and just showing up to do that, to show people hey, I'm going to go do this. And if it fails, it fails. And I'm just going to keep working through that. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And one last question is, you already said it before, but what advice would you give anybody who's thinking about working with me and Atlas?
I would say book a call and have a conversation. And Joey is very real with his conversation. It is not salesy. It is tell me about you, how you want to serve. And then he will let you know, well, then here's how this can support you in that. But he's very honest if it's not right for you or not the right timing. So I say just start with a conversation. The least you'll come out with is you'll learn something about yourself.
Yeah.
And maybe your mindset. So
thank you, Kim. As always, it's a pleasure to talk to you all the time. And thank you for sharing this last almost hour now with us. And get back to your family and enjoy the time that you now have with them and that you've carved out because of the business.
It's true. So, I now have movie Tuesdays, $5 movie Tuesdays.
This is amazing. Yeah,
I had lost them. So now they're back. So also because now we can go back after COVID, but I had lost them. I was too busy trying to work and I'm like, this is important to me. I will not give this up. So
I love that.
It's the little things.
But those are the little things that I'm saying that when we sacrifice those things, I remember, just to end it off with this because it's so important. that, you know, I remember sitting here doing the same thing and working on documents or emails or stuff. And John Asaraf's thing is right up there. What are you willing to trade your life for? That's there. He taught me that back in 2011. And it was, I remember my daughter, she wanted to play basketball. She'd come up and knock on the door because my office, I'm always in my little office, and she'd knock on the door and say, Daddy, can we play basketball? And I'd be on my Word document or something, doing an email. And I'm like, give me 5 minutes, I'll be right there. And then I'd look up at that and go, what the hell am I doing? Right? What am I doing?
Yeah.
And those are the little moments that you're talking about, those little sacrifices, because she would have known, like, okay, well, Daddy's busy. Maybe he'll come out later. Maybe he didn't, whatever. But it's those small moments that I want everybody to hear that are listening to this right now that are the most important things.
They are.
And I'm so happy that you have those moments.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
My family loves it too, so that's good.
Congratulations. Thanks,
you.
Kim.
Thank you. You're wonderful. You're a blessing. Thank you,
everybody. You too. Bye.
Bye.